Have you ever been made to feel like you have to make yourself smaller or to dim down a little bit? Like you're too much, too loud, too out there? This is something that's really been on my mind a lot recently, and something that has been coming up for me and in my space as I stretch myself again and start to create new offerings and create a new voice in the world. Something that keeps coming back to me is a time about probably nearly 10 years ago now, when somebody who was my senior at work, I'd only been in the position a few months, took me aside and quite abruptly and unexpectedly said to me, if you want to do well here, you're going to have to change who you are. And I was like, excuse me? And didn't really understand what they meant. And they said, you can't be like you are. You're too much. You're too loud. And that's not going to work here. And I was like, oh, okay. And they proceeded to tell me that nobody liked me, which was fantastic feedback. There's not a huge amount that, not many places you can go with that. Thankfully, I had enough tools at the time to be able to recognize that maybe there was something going on for her. And I spoke with a few other people at work, and they were like, no, we think that how you're going is great and get on with everybody. But what was really interesting is after that conversation, I noticed that, and especially with hindsight now, I did change how I was showing up. I would second guess myself before I spoke, and a lot of my confidence that I'd had previously at work really started to diminish. And I noticed how I was showing up around my colleagues. I was much quieter, and I was smaller and dimmer, as she'd requested. Now, if a similar thing was to happen to me now with all of the tools and information that I've got, I'd probably be like, okay, thank you for that feedback. And then I'd probably turn the dial up, because I can see now that what makes somebody else feel uncomfortable doesn't need to change who I am. I can be considerate of other people, but at the same time, their view of me is not my problem. And their view of me doesn't need to change who I am. And that same thing goes for you. Now, you might not have had a direct experience of someone telling you you need to be a different person. You might just have subtle remarks from friends, family, colleagues about, oh, you can't do that, you can't say that. Or, people constantly trying to, shh, don't be so loud. Or, you don't need to, just calm down, stop. And I want you to know that you don't have to. It's okay to use your voice and share your voice in a way that feels good for you. It's okay to say the things that are on your mind. And just because somebody else might not have the confidence to be able to live in their truth and speak their truth doesn't mean that you have to take that on. It can be a difficult thing to live. It's probably taken me nearly 10 years to really understand that, and to be able to share in the way that I want to, and share in a way that feels good to me, that feels authentic to me. And it's always going to be a work in progress, because I'm always a work in progress. You are always a work in progress. And how I show up today might not be how I want to show up tomorrow. And that's totally cool. That's actually what's really exciting. We get to play with who we are. There's no boxes. So one day you might feel like being a bit quieter. You might not enjoy saying as many jokes. But then there are times when you do that. Go for it. Be as bright and as loud and as shiny and obnoxious as you want to be. Because if you're not feeling obnoxious, then you're not. If your intention is to just have fun and to make other people laugh, then go for it. You're not harming anybody. And if somebody else can't handle that, they don't like your style of jokes, they don't like how you speak, that's their loss, not yours. And there are so many people out in the world that need to hear your voice and hear your truth. Don't rob them of that. I robbed people of that for so long. And I really feel that. It's time for each of us to start sharing our own unique voice. And it's time for each of us to speak our truth. Because the world is at a tipping point. We're at a critical place. And we can't rob it of our voice anymore. I invite you to share something that might be a little bit controversial. Share something, share it below, comment, send me a message of something that you've always wanted to say or share, or a way of being that previously you felt was too much and you couldn't. Let this be your permission slip. Your permission slip to speak your truth. It is safe, it is welcomed, and it is needed. This whole world needs you to share your voice, to share your gifts, to be who you are 100%. We need you.